So toxic work environments are everywhere, but today I'm going to pull back the curtains and share with you if you may just be the source of the toxicity in your work environment. Hi, I am Safiya and welcome to the Leaders Chat Room. If it is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for joining us for the ride. If you are returning, thank you so much for your continued support, and I trust you are continuing to grow on your leadership journey. Here on the Leaders Chat Room, we share all things leadership, guidance, tips, tricks, real life, practical guidance on how to become better leaders in our work, businesses, and lives. So if you're interested, hit that subscribe button and join us for this ride. So you may have heard about a toxic work environment, but if you haven't, let me share with you what it is. So a toxic work environment is an atmosphere that is burdensome, immensely stressful, soul-crushing, and it is founded on the absence of one of the most fundamental personal needs: respect. A toxic work environment is starkly void of respect. It's void of respect for persons' professional opinions and approaches. It's void of respect for people's sheer humanness. When people find themselves in a toxic work environment, the only thing that is on their minds is how to escape. But you must know if you may be the one that may be pouring the toxicity into your work environment. One thing to note about a toxic work environment is that it is nurtured and groomed by a toxic leader. Either the top leader, which can be the CEO, the MD, the GM, or the president, or it may be based on another influential toxic leader who the top leader refuses to rein in. Toxic leaders are directly responsible for a lot of damage in the workplace. Damage to staff morale, high staff turnover, inflated recruitment and staff costs through absenteeism, and people just trying to get out. At the end of the day, toxic work leaders impair bottom line. As leaders, we have the responsibility to solve problems in our environment. But can you solve a problem that you do not acknowledge? What if you are the problem? What if I am the problem? People do not leave organizations. People leave people. And I can tell you, people run from toxic leaders. And before you dismiss me outright and say that you're not a toxic leader, let me say to you, I was once a toxic leader. I was that leader who was groomed under another toxic leader, and I was taught that in order to be strong as a leader, you had to be aggressive. You almost had to be a bully. I shouted and screamed at my staff when they didn't do what I expected them to do, and people were so crushed, they were so demotivated, they were so discouraged, and I didn't know why. But what also happened is that I felt that the way I was behaving, it didn't align with who I was. I wanted to be strong yet compassionate. That was the kind of leader that I wanted to be. And so I set out on the journey to change that, to change who I was as a leader, to align more with who I am. And if you're listening to this video at this time and you're telling yourself, listen, I feel so badly after I ill-treat my staff, you should. Because there is a way to handle people well, even when they do not meet up to our expectations. After a while, I had to start my own journey to becoming a better leader. I had to detox myself before my leadership grew. And I got to a point where people would actually leave their jobs to come and work with me where I was. People would actually follow me where I was going. And I remember there was this one day as I was parked up at the side of the road, a woman tapped my glass and she signaled for me to wind it down. And knowing me, I wouldn't wind on my glass for anyone because I didn't know who she was. But that day, I did. That day, I rolled down the glass and she said to me, Safiya, you may not know me, but I remember you were the CEO of a particular company, and I had just joined 3 months before you left. And I remember feeling so cared for. I remember feeling so a part of your team, even though I just come in. And it was 200 of us in that organization, and we all felt that way. She said, you inspired me to be the best that I could be, and I continue to do that even though you have left, because I know what you were trying to do in that organization. And she stood there, tears in her eyes, being so thankful to me for being the kind of leader I was. And that touched me very deeply, because here I was looking at her, knowing the position that she held. She was like about 5 levels under me in the hierarchy, but somehow the way I led touched her even at that point. Leaders, it is possible to be strong, to be productive, and yet be compassionate, yet be kind, and yet touch lives. So if you want to know truly if you may be the source of the toxicity in your environment, I want you to continue listening. And I want you to take a personal inventory of yourself, right? Going into this new year, start the year strong. So I want to share with you 5 ways to tell if you are a toxic leader, and I guarantee no one will tell you if you are. So sign number 1, people directly under you are always leaving. High staff turnover in your department, in your team, in your organization. No one stays where they are unwanted. No one stays where they feel underappreciated or undervalued. And even worse, people don't stay where they're bullied or ill-treated. So if people are always trying to run away from you, that is a sign that you may very well be toxic. Sign number 2, there is high staff absenteeism directly under you. So the next best thing, if they can't leave the job, is to stay home. People will be doing all that they can do to get away from you and to spend as least time with you as possible. So people are going to have all sorts of excuses. They're going to be sick all the time. They're going to need casual days all the time. But really what it is, they do not want to be around you. So take a look and see. But I also want you to know that staff may be doing it deliberately, which is their way of retaliating against a toxic boss, or they may be doing it involuntarily because they are truly sick. There is research, overwhelming evidence that a toxic work environment actually impacts people's physical health. So your staff may actually be truly sick and need time off because they are so stressed in the work environment. Check and see if that's you. Sign number 3, deafening organizational silence, especially among your team. So organizational silence is where people do not speak up, where they don't give their opinions, they don't speak their minds and hearts because there is an invisible consequence for doing so. They're either victimized, belittled, or some other type of consequences imposed. So what they will do is that they will just tell you what you want to hear or say nothing at all. So you will know if your staff, if they're telling you the truth, or if it is they are really giving you honest feedback. If they are not, it is likely you're a toxic leader. So sign number 4, you honestly don't want to work with your team members. Now you may think this is a strange sign, but the thing is, as leaders, all that we feel, all that we think seeps out from us. So if you genuinely do not want to work with the people that you work with, perhaps because you think they're stupid or incompetent, if this is your genuine feeling on the inside about your team members, it's likely you're a toxic leader. And not only toxic, but perhaps a narcissist as well. So you need to look at that honestly. So I'm sharing things with you that your team will never tell you. But listen, you are responsible for your growth. So if you do the self-diagnostic and recognize, hey, I could be toxic, then time to change. All right? Sign number 5, you honestly get upset when someone challenges your approach or viewpoint. Now, everybody has their viewpoint, their opinion, and their own approach. And sometimes we are very married to it. But as a leader, you have a responsibility to truly listen to your staff. You have a responsibility to get their input, to get the synergies of the team coming together. Especially if it is you have a multidisciplinary team, you need their feedback, you need their professional opinion. And if it is you resent it, if you get irritated and angry because somehow you think, how dare they challenge what I have said, how dare they have a different viewpoint, you have to take a look at that, because you may just be a toxic leader. So I know what I've shared may sting a little bit, but we have to grow as leaders if we are to have better teams, better organizations, and overall better lives. So as we come up to the end of the year, look at yourself. Do the introspection. In fact, we now have a free leadership assessment on our website. Go to it, safiyajohnson.com. Take it and figure out where you are in your leadership journey. And as always, if it is you need support, we're here for you. So chat soon. Take care.